Well, we haven't had any vehicles in the drink yet this summer, but look at this beach. That's a sandbar out there, and between the drivable part of the beach and the sandbar is a trough that's probably, when the tide's in, about 4 foot deep. Look at the size of that sandbar. I'm gonna drive down here a ways. This right here is a hole. There's still about a foot of water in that hole. This is the whole beach is like this right now. With the south winds, it keeps the ocean flat. And with the ocean flat, there's nothing to pound the beach down and flatten it out. I'm gonna drive out in this little sandbar. See, there's a big trough right here. I'm gonna drive out in this sandbar, see how soft it is. Wow, look at that. Look at this, another whole drop off right here. It'll take a good storm or a different type of wind to get the ocean to pick up. Right now it's just flat like a lake out there. Actually, this sandbar is pretty hard. I didn't sink too bad in it at all. But the whole beach is like this right now. And invariably what will happen is somebody not familiar with our beaches will be driving down one of these sandbars. Now look at the end of the sandbar. See that little finger of water right there? Well, when the tide comes in, that's probably 4 or 5 feet of water, but the sandbar will stow. So you'll be driving down the sandbar and see that little finger of water and think you can drive through it. This is about as bad as I've ever seen the beach out here. You can see where someone drove out on that sandbar. You see their tracks. And you know, you're relatively safe when the tide's out, unless you try to drive off the end of one of these sandbars, and especially in a two-wheel drive. You drive off the end of the sandbar and your front tire will drop into one of these holes, and before you can put it reverse and back up. I see that little finger of water doesn't look like much, but there could be a hole a foot or two deep down in it. This beach is, in one good storm, it'll be flattened just like a tabletop out here. But right now, it just, look at this out here. I'm out in a big sandbar right now. And you see you drive along this sandbar. Now right there, it got soft. These little trickles of water can get you in trouble real quick. It doesn't look like much, but in a two-wheel drive, you'll get buried in it. I'm not going to go through that. That's just salt water, and I don't want to drive my truck in salt water. There's a lot of seaweed out here too. Pretty crazy this time of year. And every year, August. Usually through August, very sometimes first part of September, but the first good storm we get, the whole beach changes. It gets flat. I'll probably record that later on when it finally happens. But this beach is something else. It's like a different beach every time you drive out here. Every tide, these sandbars change. The beach changes. Look at this. Right up here, it looks like a little lake. These are really great places for kids when the sun comes out. These little pools of water warm up, and you couldn't find a safer place for a kid to play. You're separate from the ocean, and the water gets warm. The only thing is, as a parent, you want to make sure you walk out here with your kid, because there could be some deep holes in this stuff too. You'd be walking along in a foot of water, and all of a sudden you hit a pool like that, and it could be 3 feet deep. So you do have to be careful to make sure you stay with your kids even when they're playing out here. See there, it looks like that's one of those fingers of water I was talking about that could be deep. See where that one's going out. I'm gonna drive out here and look at it. Just not very deep, but if you try to cross that a two-wheel drive, you'd probably hit some soft spots right here. It's crazy out here. It must be a minus tide today because the tide is way out. I'm going to finish my drive. I just came down to Long Beach to do a jump start. I decided to take the beach home. And it's crazy out here. I haven't had many beach tows. I figured I'd get some last night. In the daytime, there's so many four drives out here. They pull each other out. But at nighttime, things get pretty lonesome out here. You might be the only vehicle out here after 2 o'clock in the morning. That's usually when I get my beach tows at this time of year. It's people out here by themselves. They get into stuff they can't see what they're getting into and get buried.